Hello, my name is Dean, and I'm here with Amber, and we're part of the Idaho Department of Education's Public School Finance team. This tutorial's aim is to help the viewer understand protected support units, which are commonly referred to as protection.
Protection is allowed within Idaho Statute 33-1003, Section 1. The statute allows protection to school districts. Charter schools haven't sought legislation to allow protection for themselves. Protective status can apply to a school district when their total current ADA is at least 3% less than their previous school year's adjusted ADA.
For instance, if a school district's current midterm ADA or estimated midterm ADA when budgeting is 965 and their prior year's midterm ADA was 1,000, then their ADA has or is expected to decline at a rate of 3.5%, so protection can apply. Protection is designed to allow school districts to have their funding be based on more than what their current ADA would allow, a sort of ADA bump during a year of ADA decline. However, school districts all contribute a proportionate share to allow for district funding to be bumped beyond current year ADA levels. In other words, statewide funding does not increase because of protection. Instead, school districts collectively help each other by giving up a portion of their support units to allow for the bump in support units to protected districts.
Please also note that if a school within a district becomes a charter school, the ADA of the converting school will be excluded from determining the school district's protection status. Before we look at how to determine the amount of protected support units, we want to be clear. One should first determine if a district is protected, like in the example discussed on the second slide of this tutorial.
So, if protection applies, step 1 is to determine what 97% of the prior year's adjusted ADA is at each grade grouping which apply to your district. For instance, our example has kindergarten, elementary, secondary, exceptional, a separate elementary, and an alternative school. The prior year ADA minus 3% column amounts are simply 97% of the prior year ADA amounts. Please note, our example also includes an alternative summer school. Summer programs factor into the calculation, but a little differently, and we'll explain that in a little bit.
Step 2 is to divide each group's prior ADA less 3% by the divisor appropriate for the group and the amount of ADA. We'll show the divisor table and walk through examples on the next 2 slides.
On the left, the prior year adjusted ADA less 3% is 145.5 for the kindergarten group. On the right, we are showing the top half of the support unit divisor table found in Idaho Code 33-1002, Section 4. Use the divisor table to find the attendance divisor appropriate to convert a given amount of ADA to an amount of support units. At 145.5 kindergarten ADA, the appropriate divisor is 40.
Likewise, the secondary prior year adjusted ADA less 3% is 776. The bottom half of the support unit divisor table shows that at this amount of secondary ADA, the appropriate divisor is 18.5. However, 776 divided by that divisor is 41.95 support units. But at that level of ADA, there is a minimum of 47 support units allowed.
Alternative summer school factors into the total protected support unit calculation, but in a slightly different way. Do not reduce summer school ADA by 3%. Simply divide the ADA by the summer school divisor of 40. Then total up all of the support units.
We have good news. If you are within the current year, there is a report that shows the calculation of protected support units. The report is called the Attendance Protected Support Unit Calculation Report. Unfortunately, if you are estimating for the upcoming year, you'll need to calculate the total protected support units manually, as the report is unavailable until school begins in the fall.
When running the Attendance Protected Support Unit Calculation Report, wait at least 24 hours after each IC submission. This allows the report system to update. However, please know that if you are viewing the report prior to the submission window closing, that the attendance may not be final. This is because because if any of your students are shared by other school districts or charter schools who have not yet submitted, then the attendance shown has not yet been adjusted to proportionally split the shared students' attendance days.
Go to the Idaho State Board of Education's website and sign in to the Education Application Portal. Once there, select the reports, Attend/Enroll application. Choose the Attendance Protected Support Unit Calculation Report from the Attendance Report group.
The report has 4 criteria, or filters, that allow the user to narrow the report output. Select the date you would like the data to be as of. Typically, you'll always choose the current date, but you could choose a past date. Select the school year. Again, typically, you'll choose the current school year, but you could also choose a past school year. Select the provider. This should only allow you to choose your school district. Select the report type, where you have 2 choices of reporting periods. The midterm period, or period 1, is the first week of school through the week ending the first Friday in November. It is important to note that the support units from the midterm period are the units used to figure salary-based apportionment. The best 28 weeks, or best 28, is the full school year, excluding the lowest weeks in terms of average daily attendance to leave just the top 28 weeks. Discretionary funding is calculated using best 28 support units. Finally, click View Report.
The report will appear within the application, but you will want to save it in another format, likely as an Excel file, so the data can be more easily reviewed. Do so by going to the circled Export drop-down menu.
Our explanation will utilize a midterm reporting period example. Please know that the calculation process this report shows is the same regardless of whether the period is best 28 or midterm. Also, 2 versions of the calculation will always be made. If viewing the report as an Excel file, like we're showing, the 2 versions will appear on Sheet 1 and Sheet 2. Protected support units will always be based on the greater of the 2 calculations.
We've emphasized the area that is in the red box. It displays the message of protected or not protected. In the example, the school district is protected because their current total ADA is less than their prior year ADA minus 3%.
The rest of the report details the calculation of total protected support units, beginning with the prior year's ADA, reducing it by 3%, and then applying the appropriate unit divisor. Please note, the report will always calculate total protected support units, emphasized in blue. But be aware that these support units will not be applied to funding if the report doesn't also show protected.
Thanks for listening. We hope you make it a point to review the Attendance Protected Support Unit Calculation Report, especially following the close of an IC submission window. Please let myself or Dean know if you have any questions. Have a great year!